Okay, we'll talk about person-centered therapy in our course now. I try to remember which week it was. I think seventh week, right? Seventh week subject person-centered therapy. I can't believe that we almost came to the half of the semester. It's going so fast actually. Okay, let's go with person-centered therapy. I'm sure that you already know it. It's mostly referred to as Carl Rogers hum-hum therapy, but of course it doesn't only consist of hum-hum. Generally, person-centered therapy emphasizes that therapy is a journey shared by two people, which are therapist and client, and they defend that the person has an innate striving for self-actualization. Remember Maslow's hierarchical theory, and at the top of it there was this self-actualization, which means that to reach our full potential, right? To convert our all potential into performance in our lives. So they show some similarities in this sense. And the personal characteristics of the therapist and the quality of the therapeutic relationship are very important in person-centered therapy, because at the basis of person-centered therapy there is the relationship between the client and the therapist. This is very important. They say that the change in client goes through that relationship between the therapist and the client. And the counselor's creation of a permissive, growth promoting climate is important, which means that the therapist always encourages the client to grow um, and to actualize him or herself. And according to person-centered therapy, people are capable of self-directed growth, and this can be fostered in a therapeutic relationship. Generally, in person-centered therapy, um, it's believed that as long as you accept your client as a therapist, show unconditional positive regard for whatever your client brings up, um, are important for encouraging your clients to go on their ways, to have the courage to change themselves. So at the basis of this therapy, as I've said before, the relationship takes its place. Okay. According to person-centered therapy, sense of trust in the client's ability to move forward in a constructive manner is very important. Of course, some conditions fostering the growth should be present, right? But we always trust in our client's ability to move on, to change something, to fulfill his or her potential. Okay, we believe and we trust. And according to person-centered therapy, clients are trustworthy, they are resourceful, they are capable of self-understanding, they are able to make constructive changes, they are able to live effectively, and they are able to live productive lives. At the beginning, client counselor believes that client already has his or her own strengths, okay, to do anything. And according to this view, people are innately striving toward becoming fully functioning. Already, they want to fully function, the person-centered therapy says. And therapists' attitudes and beliefs in the inner resources of the clients are very important, as we said. As a result of displaying that we trust in our clients are able to move forward. This therapeutical approach believes that clients have self-healing capacities. They believe that clients are the primary agents for their changes in their lives. And according to this, as we have repeatedly said, clients actualize their potential for growth. And according to this approach, mental health is a congruence, or mental health occurs as a congruence between what one wants to become and what one actually is. And um, actually, this is like dreaming of what you want to be, how you want to be, okay? You have something in your mind about your actual self, but there is the position here and now on what you are actually, and there's a discrepancy um, in what you really are and what you want to be. But according to person-centered therapy, if there is a congruence between these two dimensions, then mental health will already come out of that congruence, okay? And in person-centered therapy, there are these therapeutic goals. Firstly, main goal is to help a person become a fully functioning person. Clients have the capacity to define their goals, and our clients are open to any experience. We trust in themselves. We believe that our clients have an internal source of evaluation, and they have a willingness to continue growing. And in the therapy, if our clients don't have these, if they don't trust in themselves, if they are not aware of their willingness to continue growing, by the relationship we set in the sessions, we encourage them to achieve these, okay? And in this process, therapist's function is to be present and accessible to the clients, to focus on immediate experience, to stay in here and now, and to be real in the relationship with clients. We are not doing any role playing. We are there as our authentic selves are. And through the therapist's attitude of genuine caring, respect, acceptance, and understanding, clients become less defensive and they are more open to experience, and all of these facilitate the personal growth in our clients. And therapist role, when we consider therapist role, therapist attitude and belief in the inner sources of the client, not in the techniques, facilitate personal change in the client. They say that if you believe in the strengths and resources of your client, and if you really show this authentically to your client, then this will facilitate the change in the client, not the techniques that you use professionally. Okay? And as it was in existential therapy, here again we have use of self as an instrument of change, to be without roles and to get not lost in professional role, to be authentic, I mean, okay? We are using ourselves, we are there authentically, we are present with all our strengths, with all our understanding. We are emotionally there, we are present. And in the sessions, we focus on the quality of the therapeutic relationships, and also therapists can openly express feelings and attitudes that are present in the relationship with the client. We are not hiding behind a professional mask, this means. And what clients experience in the therapy, let's go with this. Firstly, incongruence. This is the discrepancy between self-perception and experience in reality. I had mentioned it in the previous slides, right? There will be a discrepancy and this will lead to incongruence. This will lead to imbalance. So as a result of this will end in anxiety. And this may sometimes decreases the motivation of our clients in the therapy, but since we trust in them, since our clients feel understood and accepted, they will understand that they don't need to be defensive in these processes and they may become more open to their experiences. So even they get aware of the incongruence, the discrepancy between self-perception and experience in reality, but since they are not judged by us, by the therapist, they say that, okay, there is this thing, but maybe I can handle it. I can overcome this discrepancy. Okay? So, therapeutic relationship activate client self-healing capacities. When we consider the relationship between therapist and the client, we see that emphasis is on the attitudes and personal characteristics of the therapist and the quality of the therapeutic relationship. As we mentioned before, if we are authentic, if we are present in the sessions, and if we are listening in an accepting way to our clients also learn how to listen acceptingly to themselves. Okay? So remember that we are using ourselves as a tool in the sessions. That's exactly this. Um, I'm disclosing myself honestly. I'm open. I'm present. I'm real. I'm genuine. And I'm there respecting my client, believing in him, and trusting in him, and listening very carefully and acceptantly. Then, as a result of using myself as an instrument in the session, my client learns that, okay, I can do these things to myself as well. So here is the point where the relationship between the therapist and the client is actually healing or easing the process of the client to move forward. And actually, we kept mentioning these, but basically, in the relationship between therapist and the client, we are referring to congruence, which is being real and genuine. Unconditional positive regard means acceptance and caring. But of course, by having unconditional positive regard, we are not approving all of the behaviors of our clients. My client goes and rapes someone. Do we unconditionally accept and care for our client? No, of course. Okay, but under the circumstances where my client wants to actualize him or herself, of course I'm there listening to him acceptingly, respecting, and without any criteria, without any judgment, I'm there with unconditional positive regard. And another point is accurate empathic understanding. This is an ability to deeply grasp the client's subjective world. Helper attitudes are more important than the knowledge. This again refers to the previous slide that we had mentioned. Actually, instead of the techniques that I use, instead of the professional mask I'm wearing on my face, my stance, my understanding, the real empathy I feel for my client actually is more important than all of the therapeutical knowledge and all the information I have. Okay? The basic thing is that my client has his or her own subjective world. And I'm, as a therapist, there in the session to be able to attentively listen and to empathize with that world. Okay, my responsibility is this. And according to person-centered therapy, there are 6 conditions which are necessary and sufficient for personality changes to occur. First one is 2 persons are in psychological contact. This means that therapist and the client should have a psychological contact, an effective relationship. And the client is feeling and experiencing incongruency, which will result in feeling anxiety. This is the condition, and we should be aware of this. My client and I should be aware of this. And I am, as a therapist, is congruent. I'm real and genuine because I've gone that way that my clients want to walk through. And thereby, I need to be there as a therapist, integrated in the relationship. My expectation at the beginning is not that my client will be integrated into the relationship. My client will trust me afterwards, but I will trust at the beginning. Okay? And the therapist experiences unconditional positive regard or real caring for the client. Yes, we are at the beginning of the session, let's say. My client is there with all his defenses, but I'm there with all my unconditional positive regard, caring, understanding, presence, and congruence. And the therapist experiences empathy for the client's internal frame of reference and endeavors to communicate this to the client. I'm saying that I understand you and I accept you and I trust you. I see that you have strengths. I see that you have resources. If I see them and if I reflect them, then my client will start to know and see that he has those sources and strengths. Okay? And the communication to the client is achieved. Okay, I put the relationship, I set it up. We established rapport with my client, and afterwards I will communicate what I observe, what I listen to my client to encourage him or her in his or her way to move forward. And again, like existential perspective, a person-centered approach is not technique-oriented. And there's a misunderstanding regarding the person-centered approach. This approach is simply to restate what the client just said or the technique of reflection of feelings. This is not correct. We are not just saying, I understand you. We are not just doing this. Okay? We are there. We are not approving all of the things our clients bring to the session. We are not only reflecting their feelings and thoughts, but our main responsibility as therapists is to establish a caring, understanding, empathized relationship with our clients, so to foster our clients' understanding and ability to do the same things that we do them to their own selves. Okay, to do the things that we do to them to their own selves when they are alone out of the sessions. And as we said, we are there, we are present. To summarize and evaluate the approach, actually, this approach has lots of contributions to the field of therapy, and they state that client plays an active role in terms of taking responsibility for change in his or her life, like as it's in existential therapy. And in person-centered approach, we believe and trust in the inner and subjective experience of the client. This is a relationship-centered approach. This focuses on therapist attitudes and um, the skills that he or she uses in terms of being present, being authentic. There is this focus on empathy, being present, and respecting the client's values. Actually, person-centered approach is very well fit to multicultural counseling. Okay, since there is unconditional positive regard, there is not any judgment, there is not any bias. This generally fits to multicultural context as well. And in terms of limitations, still there is not that much research on the applicability, validity, and reliability of the techniques and generally the therapeutic approach itself, and it's not measured very much. Actually, we talked about a misunderstanding that it's not only hum therapy, it's more than that, but this may be misunderstood. Generally, person-centered therapies, relationship-centered approach is adopted by other therapeutical approaches. Sometimes this person-centered therapy can be considered as a technique to set up the relationship, but in its essence, it's a therapeutical approach. But most of the other therapeutical approaches take this relationship-oriented perspective to the techniques they use. Okay. If you have any questions, you can write, but you are not responsible to answer any questions or to make any comments for this presentation under the YouTube video. But if you have any questions, you can write in the comments part and I can answer it, okay? So everyone can also see your questions or maybe some suggestions, comments, etc. See you.